best things about working on Star Wars was the cast, who were all an absolute delight to know. Except for Alec Guinness. He knows what he did. Mark Hamill was a nerdy kid from Oakland, California, who loved doing odd voices between scenes. What I can tell you is that I know where he came up with the voice for the Joker. Every afternoon at about 3, the crew would break for tea time, and one of the tea boys was this skinny kid named Alex. And when I say skinny, I mean he looked like Benedict Cumberbatch if he was recovering from malaria. And when he laughed, it was this high-pitched giggle that made your entire lower body clench up. And I'm sure that's where Mark pulled the voice from the Joker from. Alex never knew this, though. About a month after the film wrapped, the police went digging around in his backyard garden and they found some stuff. A year later, he caught a shiv from a teddy boy while serving a life sentence in Bedford. It was a clean hit, and he was dead before the body hit the floor. The moral of this story is, don't be a serial killer. Or at the very least, always take your body parts to a second location. I had actually met Carrie Fisher years earlier. Debbie Reynolds was a neighbor, and one day she comes over and says that the clown that she hired for Carrie's 6th birthday party had canceled, and could we help? Beverly immediately volunteers me, citing how I was the one who introduced Eddie Fisher to Liz Taylor, which is another story for another time, and we kind of owed her. So we managed to find some baggy overalls, some white shoe polish, and one of Bev's cheaper lipsticks, and the next thing I knew, I was in Debbie's backyard dancing an improvised jig to Lou Monte's Peppino the Italian Mouse, looking like a murderer wearing the skin of a clown. And at the end, I jumped down on one knee and yelled, "Hello, kids!" Carrie responded by punching me right in the coin purse, which, A, all things considered, was an understandable response, and B, laid me flat on my back for a solid hour. To her credit, when I told her the story, Carrie was very apologetic, and to make it up to me, gave me a tie stick, which put me on my back for 2 hours, because even back then, Carrie knew where to find the good stuff. Now, no one expected Star Wars to be a hit, let alone a Hydra-headed franchise, which is why Harrison Ford spent his weekends doing woodworking projects for some of the families that lived by the studio. One weekend, I helped him build a wardrobe for one of the lighting assistants, and when it was done, it was one of the most beautiful pieces of furniture I'd ever seen in my entire life, which made it all the more shocking when they told us they were going to bury their grandmother in it. Apparently, she was a fan of the C.S. Lewis Narnia novels, and she felt that by being buried in a wardrobe, she would wind up in the fabled land of Aslan. Well, about a year later, after the film hit, some members of a local gang tried to dig up that wardrobe to sell to a Japanese collector, but thankfully the police foiled the plot. And about a year later, the ringleader caught a shiv from a teddy boy while serving a 5-year stretch at Bedford. Ironically, it turned out to be the same teddy boy that had shanked Alex, proving once again that it really is just a small world after all.